In this video, I'm going to be answering 5 questions as to how I used UWORLD to get a score of 266 on the USMLE STEP to CK. Question 5. In what mode did I study UWORLD? I studied UWORLD in random mode all times. Now, I did 2 questions back actually. I went through UWORLD, I went through AMBOSS. I did UWORLD first, I did AMBOSS second. Now, if I were to prepare for Step 2 CK again, I would actually do UWORLD in system mode and AMBOSS in random mode. Why? I'll prefer to do the first part of a Step 2 question bank in system mode and the second part in random mode. In system mode, you have the opportunity to build a lot of connections, to learn deeply. For instance, you get a question about an acute complication of myocardial infarction. You get another question about another acute complication of myocardial infarction. You get another question about a chronic complication of myocardial infarction. And that for you, fixing the pieces of the puzzle together of the cardiovascular system. So you learn all the related concepts in the cardiovascular system together. Because you're just getting exposed to Step 2 content and all. Then in the second part of the question bank, we do it in random mode. Why? For 2 reasons actually. The first one is to remind yourself of the concept you've learned earlier. Now, for instance, you go through UWORLD in system mode. You started with cardiovascular system, you end in musculoskeletal system. That process may have taken you about 2 to 3 months, give or take. At the end of your prep, at the end of finishing UWORLD, you might have forgotten some of the concepts you learned in cardiovascular system. So it's important you use a random mode to refresh yourself on everything at the same time. Second reason why you should still do random mode again is that it eliminates bias. What do I mean by eliminate bias? There are some questions you may get and you will guess the answer correctly because of the nature of the options, the systems the options fall into. For instance, you get a question about a patient that is short of breath. Now, and you see pulmonary embolism, you see acute left ventricular failure as some other options. So you will not be sure what's actually causing the patient's resistance to breath, but because we are studying cardiovascular system in the question bank, you may choose, okay, it's likely to be acute left ventricular failure, not pulmonary embolism. And so during random mode eliminates that bias. So that's another second reason why you should do the second part of your question bank in random mode. Question 4. How many questions did I do per day? No, I did 40 to 80 questions per day in the initial period. And towards the end of my prep, I was doing 100 to 200 questions per day. So it's important you get used to doing a lot of questions, but Step 2 preparation is largely about doing more questions and more questions. So you need to have a kind of baseline high number of questions per day, at least 40, at the very least 40, because I think 80 is the ideal number, because you know you're not going to do just one pass of UWORLD. You may probably do 2 passes. You may do a pass of UWORLD, a pass of AMBOSS. You still have MB, you still have seminar forms, and you may be short on time, so you need to do a lot of questions per day, but at least 40 questions. For example, if you can achieve up to 80, that would be ideal. Then so you're dedicated, you can do more questions because you're now narrowed in, your exam is closed. You can do about 100 to 200 questions per day. But initial period, put it to 80 is fine. Question 3. What was my approach to studying UWORLD? Now, my approach to studying UWORLD was that when I get a question, I attempt the question. When I get the correct answer, I'm going to read why the correct answer is correct. I'm going to also read why the incorrect answer is incorrect. Because those incorrect options may be the correct answer on another different question. UWORLD is a learning tool, so you have to, every single line in UWORLD is present an opportunity for you to learn. I mean, you subscribe for the question, but why not use it? So my approach is that study as much as possible, read everything, especially during your first part when you're just getting used or exposed to Step 2 content. You read every single explanations why the correct answers are correct and why the incorrect are incorrect. In your second pass or a second review of a question bank or a different question bank, you can afford not to go through the whole answer section, especially for questions you are very familiar with, alright? But in the first pass of the question bank and prep for Step 2, my advice is read everything. Secondly, try to understand the concept. If you find yourself trying to cram something, then maybe a deficiency in your understanding. So try to understand it. If the content in UWORLD is not enough for you to understand, you can check out videos, Sketching Micro, Patoma, Internet, and others. Nowadays, YouTube is more like the best university. You can find anything on YouTube. So the concept they are trying to cram means you're not understanding it well. So we have to get another secondary source to really understand that concept. So try to understand things deeply. Anything you don't understand well may come out to bite you on exam day. Alright, because on exam day, if you cram something, you may forget, you may mix it up with another thing. So try to understand things deeply, understand the why. Why is this the treatment option other than this? Why is it the next best step in the management other than these other steps? You need to understand the why. Don't just understand that CT scan is the first step in managing patient that causes a symptom of acute stroke. You need to know why. Alright, so that's all my strategy. Then question 2. How did I deal with inertia, loss of motivation? There's some days where you don't feel like doing questions. There's some days when you start doing your question block and you feel tired halfway. Alright, so there are two strategies I use to deal with this. First one, you question blocks of 10. Alright, I got this strategy from Dr. Mike Millman. So sometimes when you have to 40 questions, the pile of questions left for you to solve may overwhelming. So if you just create manageable chunks of 10 questions each, there's a higher chance that you will eventually reach your target of 40 to 80 questions per day. Alright, so on those days when motivations are low, you can do 10 questions, create blocks of 10 questions. On these when you are super motivated, you can create your usual question blocks of 40. Now, the second strategy I used to prevent inertia, to reduce inertia and reduce that lack of motivation was using the in-between moments. At some point you may sit down in one place for so long trying to study, doing questions, and you get tired. But when you step out, you're kind of refreshed. When you go out in transit, you can do some questions while on the road, in the bus, in the train, wherever in transit, do some more questions. You ask your question note for the day. Okay, if you're in an event, maybe you're in a queue and you're not in the conversation with anybody. You're in an event, let's say a wedding ceremony, wedding reception, and your attention is not needed at the moment, you can open your phone, do a few questions. Now you can access UWORLD on your phone or your laptop, so there are no excuses. Using the in-between moment and creating blocks of 10 are the true strategies I used to deal with inertia and loss of motivation. And the final question is more of a question to you guys. So what question do you want me to answer about how I use UWORLD to prepare for step 2 to get a score of 266? If you have such questions, drop in the comment section. I will respond, and I will possibly also make a video about that. And I also make a video in the future about how I use AMBOSS, Anki, NBME, CMS forms. I also bring a video about my step 1. So if you're interested in similar content, do subscribe so you get notified when those videos drop. See you in the next one.